Oh wait, I
Are
stopped
we
dancing
keeping
right
the
at the
dancing?
wrong
Yeah, there we
moment.
go. Okay. Oh man, we're having too much fun already. But hello, and welcome to episode 3 of what we're still calling Book Chats and Beyond, because I haven't figured out another name yet, and nobody else has suggested one. So we're rolling with it for now. We're rolling with Book Chats and Beyond. But I am joined by the lovely Fina from Fina Reads, who I'm very excited to have on. And we've got all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about. We got a little ahead of ourselves and used up some of our topics before going live, which is it's all good though. We can jump out. We do have Derry in the house, very, very ready already. So
10 a.m.,
we
9 a.m. What?
I was gonna say, we were looking up your time zone. We're like, how crazy of a time is it for Derry right now? So sounds like it's not too bad evening here, but it's very nice to see you as well, for sure. But yeah, I don't even know where to start because there's a bunch of things. But I was saying I was trying to like make excuses as to why I kept putting this off, because I reached out to Fina about specifically being a guest like weeks ago, but I just kept being like, oh, for miscellaneous, not very good reason, I just need to wait a little longer, because I was trying to wait until I released my video about secretly reading Green Rider. And so I figured that'd be a fun thing. But so okay, good. Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's midday. So that works. But yeah, I was excited to finally have gotten to Green Rider. And I was so nervous about it though, especially after Valdemar. And there's a lot of comparisons. I talk about that when I film my review, but like Green Rider is definitely much more on the like, epic fantasy, all kinds of stuff and magical stuff happening. And it felt almost like kind of more like the Hobbit, or like the early Lord of the Rings than I was expecting, with some fun ways, which was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. I mean, she wrote book 1 in 1998, so it has been a little bit. And she is definitely heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings. So there are a lot of elements in the book. And I've heard a lot of people say that it is heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings. But I mean, which fantasy isn't? There are so many out there.
Yeah,
More or less heavily inspired.
very true.
So,
And you see a lot of that with like the magical races and stuff like that, but it was more so like I've seen less where it's doing the whole kind of like, we're going off through the fantasy forest and oh, there's the giant spiders or like spider crab
yeah.
things in this case, which that one was that I was saying, I don't think that's a spoiler that spider crabs exist, but there are some spider crabs, and I was not expecting that at all, and I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was I was very pleasantly surprised, because it felt like that sort of like adventure-y quest fantasy where we're just going through and all the crazy stuff. So it reminded me of early Fellowship, and less songs though, which is fine with me. I was never the song. I've seen people defend them quite heartily, and- but I'm just like, I usually skip them.
Yeah.
I was trying the audio though, and Andy
Me
Serkis
too.
sings them, and it's like, oh gosh, you skip the songs too.
Yes.
Okay, all
Because
right.
I can't read them. Like, it rhymes, usually it rhymes. So in my head, I'm like, this doesn't work. Let's just jump over it and continue.
Okay, exactly. Because I've had people be like, "No, there is a tune to them." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't figure it out, and I
No,
don't
me
care enough." I'm just like, I don't know. It's a song, so I used to force myself to read stuff like that, but sometimes I'm just like, "Yeah, yeah, trees and whatever,"
Yeah,
and so
exactly. Weird words that rhyme, more or less.
something like that.
Sure.
So yeah, Heidi, I think you'll like Green Rider. It is a
Do it.
fun time.
Yeah.
A nice gentle fantasy. No dragons, but griffins sometimes. That's such a fun way to describe that series, though. It did feel that way, though. It's a lot of. Have you read any of the Valdemar books?
No, I actually haven't. Like, I'm totally foreign. I need to at
Okay.
one point. Like, that's still on my fantasy have to read list. So at one point, I'll get to Mercedes like, hey, it's scary. It's so many books.
Yeah, I think you might like it more than I would, and yeah,
I
Derry
think so too.
agrees.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so too, because I love, like, so for example, I love Drizzt. I've read, like 4 of the Driss books and these more Dungeons and Dragon types books.
Still
And in
need
my
to
head,
try that.
somehow, that's how I think Valdemar is more too. Like your typical quest-based, Dungeons and Dragons adventure type fantasy with some things around. So I'm pretty sure I would like it. I just need to get to it eventually.
I was gonna say, Derry Cave commented on my. She was surprised. I think I liked the first one, but I think she knew I wasn't gonna like the next two because she just like, yeah, pretty much. This is why I would have told you not to probably read these ones. And like, I did get grumpy about the last two because I liked the first one so much. But that's where there are a lot of comparisons to Green Rider. I do feel like in like some of the core concept, because you also have somewhat magical horses maybe,
Yep.
and like royal messengers who in danger in some of the politics, but like the feel is totally different. But I still think a lot of stuff that you'd enjoy.
I mean,
Oh, and we
horsies.
got Derek
That's all we need, right?
Oh, for sure. Derek, so when you're on, I'm gonna make you sing a Tom Bombadil song now. So that's happening. So uh Derek's hopefully gonna be my next guest on here.
Hopefully you're musical,
Actually, so-
Derek. Just a little bit, at least.
Oh, Tom Bombadil. It's already like off to such a chaotic start. I love it. I wasn't. This is not the conversation I planned on having, but like I knew that we would just be totally fine.
That's my name.
And-
Fine, Fina. We're fine. Everything's good. There you go.
this is fine.
Woo! Green Rider. Yes.
So literally too. I saw Ian comment, and I was trying to, without letting on that I had read Green Rider, compare it to Valdemar, and I'm like, from what I've heard, Green Rider, and at this point I had read it because it was like a week after, and I was trying to be careful. I'm like, to my knowledge, not that I would know for any reason, but
That is awesome.
We'll have to find out. You never know. I did lose a subscriber ranking Billy Joel albums, and I still want to know, was it that somebody hates Billy Joel, was really mad about my rankings, or like thinks I'm a Billy Joel channel now, and like that's it? So like I don't know.
You confused the algorithm. Yep. And was that a real person?
And somebody
Big
was
no-no.
really mad. I always think it's funny seeing like what video will lose me a subscriber, and it's so many times it's like the innocuous videos where I'm just like what
What did I
offended you
say?
like I'm legitimately curious because like I don't really get bothered by like subscribers losing or like whatnot, but I'm always just like legitimately curious. I'm like, I want an exit survey because I'm just curious.
Yes.
Because I want to know, like, is it unhinged? Is it whatever?
Oh, so she was it that unsubscribed and then resubscribed again. That's your unsubscribe.
I
right
was gonna
there,
say it could be.
right?
Evie could have unsubscribed on a number of my videos. Like if it's Evie unsubscribing, I know why she's unsubscribing because she's mad at a lot of my opinions, and it's completely fair. So,
Yeah,
oh
but
man,
we should send like YouTube. You're listening into all this stuff, right? Mr. Google, you're hearing this. Feature request, please. Exit survey. That would be
yeah.
fantastic. I agree.
I don't know who
Yeah.
all would do it, but I feel like the funniest ones would be like the really angry people, and they would always do the survey. Like, I hate it because you said the color yellow,
Yeah.
and I don't know, something. I just feel like those, those would be the ones who would actually do the survey. Is the unhinged ones, and I would love to just read through those. So I get a kick out of. I don't get that many mean comments, but I almost always get a kick out of them when I do too. I don't know if you're like that at all with them, but I'm just. They make me laugh sometimes.
It depends. I definitely had. I mean, I thankfully, not in the size where I get a lot of negative comments. Although my current video might change it. We'll see. But I had one video. I did I'm reacting to the first 100 pages of Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph video 3 years ago, 2 or 3, whenever that book came out. I don't know. I got a lot of hate comments on that one because I did not like that book. It was I did not. And I didn't hold back with my opinion in this. I was like, I just have to talk to someone about this. Like, this is so ridiculous. How? Why? When? It was completely unedited. Me on the couch, just 99 pages into the book. I'm like, ah. I
That'll
get a lot of
sometimes
comments
do
on
it.
that one. Yes, but I thought it was funny to see those things, what people get riled up about. It's fine if you like the book, like it's great if you love the book,
Yeah.
great, but let me not like the book. That's totally fine too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I so rarely do like the rants, and like I feel
Yeah,
like
that was my
there's
only reason.
definitely a part of my audience that would like it if I ranted more, but I really try to be constructive. There's been a few where I'm just like, man, but because like I think most of my overly negative videos, I feel like I've been fairly constructive at the same time. So I try, but I still get some grumpy people.
Yeah,
But
that's just
who knows?
sometimes, as we talked about that before, like while we were chatting, I think sometimes it's just the weather. Sometimes there are people that
Yeah.
just like to be grumpy and like to complain. I laugh about it because in my real world job that we never talk about because it's real world. I work a lot with Germans. So I'm German, so I can talk about that. My goodness, are they grumpy? And you're like, they're complaining about something. This is not working when I click on this link, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, let me help you with that. Like, on which page are you now? Let me guide you through. This is not right, blah, blah, blah. They also don't want solutions. They just want to complain in that moment. And I don't know,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
hobby or something. I don't know. But
There are so
yeah.
many people like that.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy that I don't work with the public anymore. I work like on the back end, and I like it because I used to talk to employers about like retirement plans. They'd call in with questions, and it's just and when I worked in like retail in the past too, it's just there's so many people that just absolutely they do like to complain. They don't want solutions. They just want to
No.
complain. And I
Yeah.
actually had a little comic that I had on my desk for a while that it was the first panel was like, I have a problem, and somebody holds up a folder and like, I have a solution, and they set it on fire and like, I don't want a solution, I just want to be mad.
Yes.
And
It's
yeah.
like with women, when and as a husband, you probably know that when a woman complains, there are two ways on how you can reply to that. You can try to solution what she's complaining about, or you can be just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, oh, I'm sorry. So you need to figure
Yeah,
out which one it is because only one of the two is the right reaction to that. So same thing,
very
probably.
true, very true. Let's see, I've been ignoring the chat a little bit, so yeah, I didn't talk a ton about that ahead of time because Jake and I decided we were going to do that, and I'm just like, nah, it doesn't make any sense, but we're doing it, and it was a fun time. So,
That's
um,
the main part. As long as you had fun. Who cares about that one person that decided this is stupid? Or EV. I don't know. Unsubscribing and resubscribing. Who knows?
uh, just I think that's about me saying it's reasonable for her to unsubscribe. So that
Nico
would
could pull that off
that
too,
would
I
be
believe.
something.
Yeah. I think
I
Nico could get deep enough that he could pull that off.
I, I've never tried to do heavy metal Tom Bombadil, but I am like morbidly curious now because I wonder if anybody's done that. That's gonna be a Google after we're done, I think, to see has anybody done heavy metal.
I'm sure.
There's lots of metal that's inspired by Tolkien, but I don't know if anybody's ever done Tom Bombadil songs.
I know, Evie. What is going on? We have to rectify that somehow. Yes. Agreed.
It's
Gary and I
another
talked
one.
about that back then too. We had a brief conversation. I was like, "You just don't get the humor." It's like, "Probably." That's probably what it is. Like, what humor in this book? There's no humor in this book. It's not
Yeah.
funny.
It's like I've had some people try to tell me that I would probably like the writing style, and I'm just like, everything I've ever heard about that author and those books just tells me it's not probably going to be for me, and so I don't know. It maybe someday if I really want to try something different, but yeah, I feel like I would be in the same boat where I'm just like, nope, not for me, not for me.
I thought it was funny because I think was it Andrew who had a similar reaction and then really liked it? Or am I mixing him
I
up with someone else right now? But I swear there
I
was
think
someone
he
who
did
was
end up
similar.
liking it. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was similar. It's like everything I hear about it, I don't think it's a book for me. And then he ended up reading it and actually really liking it. I was like, no, you went to the wrong side.
Oh man, that's kind of where it's one. It is one where, because it's so divisive, I am morbidly curious where I would fall on it, because sometimes there's books like that where I don't expect to like them, but just give them a shot, and then sometimes I'm right, and there can be surprises too. You never know. So
It's a good reason to read a book, in my opinion, to see if you, vibe with the
yeah.
hype or not. Hey, that rhymes. There we go.
All right, Tom Bombadil over there. Um,
Wait, let me sprout some. Oh no, wait, he was not a tree. No, never mind. Wrong race. Let's
he was a
forget that
merry
happened.
fellow. His trousers blue and his boots are yellow. I think. It's been a while. It's somebody will angrily correct me if that was wrong. I am sure. Um, uh, yeah, I think it is one where it's there. So
And that's okay. Not everybody has to like every freaking book. That's totally fine.
the occasional spicy.
Do we need a separate show, like a separate segment on your channel, like the spicy Nico? The occasional spicy Nico? I actually like that.
New series name ideas.
Yeah. The occasional spicy Nico.
Heidi was very happy when I didn't like Howling Dark. That's for sure.
This is a series where I'm also, that's my series where I'm worried. I haven't read what's the series called?
Sun Eater.
Sun Eater, right. I haven't read that yet, and I'm really worried about that one. So that is one of mine. Eeks.
I really thought I would like the series, and everything I'd heard about it made me really feel like it was going to be one that I would like, but I was also very hesitant because whenever it's like the really popular series, I always try to manage expectations, and I'd heard it takes a bit to get going, but it's a lot of people love it, and I can totally get it. It didn't really work for me very well. Yeah, I know, definitely know the hot takes that Darius does not like of mine. Oh goodness. Oh man. So
Oh, yes. I had at one point, my husband and I had the idea, because I like to complain in the car when people don't, get moving and whatnot. I sit in the car and get angry too and start yelling at them. We had the idea at one point to make like the Angry German type of YouTube channel, which is just me, like a video of me in the car and yelling at people and getting angry that they're not doing what they're supposed to and not following the rules and whatnot. I can do
could
that in
see
a German
taking off.
accent.
I
Oh,
could see
big
that
guy.
taking off.
Yeah. Put that cookie down. That was on the women. You have only one.
I was just that I'm so behind.
We're a bit behind. Sorry,
That's
guys.
okay. Nah, it's okay. It's a sign of a good conversation. So are we setting things in fire? Nico after dark.
Well, that takes a different turn now. I'm sorry. I'm out of that one.
I've never gone through with it for obvious reasons, but I used to joke that for April Fool's one day, and I actually have a Patreon now, but before I was going to be like, hey guys, I was looking into the different platforms and I decided to start up an OnlyFans and like do that for April Fool's, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want my name and that like next to each other, even for a joke video.
People immediately have pictures in their head, and I don't know if you want that.
Probably not. I don't think they want that either. But his, I see. I've had some Vegemite, and if Christoph is like that, I don't. I don't want any. Don't want any at all. I feel like I'd have a similar reaction to the two. See, okay, I knew somebody was going to come in with the Tom Bombadil song. Oh,
I wouldn't even know.
goodness.
See, that's the thing. Like, I see these things, and I was like, I don't even know a melody in my head to what I would sing this now. So it would just be all wonky and That's why I skip songs in books.
Yep. No, I'm there too. I feel like not as many do songs anymore either, though, which I'm fine with. But it's
That's
the
actually
songs
true.
or like the poems. Like I don't feel like I see nearly as often, and I'm generally that's one of those trends I am totally okay with going by the wayside. Because
That is actually, you know what? I never realized that, but you're right. I don't think I've read a book that was published like in 2020 something or even 2010 something. I couldn't.
I'm trying to think
Oh
of the
no,
last
one of
thing
the
I read.
Green Rider books has some songs in it. One of them. Don't ask me which one right
Okay.
now because again, I jump over it. I don't remember. Um, but yeah, that was a typical thing in older fantasy, but now I have to search that. That's my Google rabbit hole for later.
All right. You're
Hmm.
getting lots of interesting questions today. So, um, oh, oh, I did not know that. That's really interesting. I'm not nearly that far into Discworld yet, so
Oh,
we got more German accent, accent angry things suggestions.
I think that was related to your OnlyFans too.
That I was gonna say that definitely could be both. So, oh gosh, I could probably get some fun things. Yeah, I just confuse the heck out of people with doing that. So,
I'm happy to recommend you some romantasy that you then can read for that video.
I'm not gonna like it though. Um,
Maybe you
I
do, and then you can do your OnlyFans, then you know what you need to do there.
oh gosh. I did. I still so I made a deal with my wife because she reads not even like romance. She reads like the smut books, is what she does, and very much not my thing at all. But I made her a deal that I'd read one of her books and she'd read one of mine. And so she read Assassin's Apprentice, a really good book, and definitely got the better end of the deal. I read one of her books. I had a horrible time with it, and I did not like it at all. But then, like, I specifically I said something about it, and somebody in Discord who had read it was like dying laughing. So like, I can't believe you read that book, and just like knowing how much I would have hated it even more. But I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Oh, man.
crazy
Which
times,
one was
crazy
it? Now
times.
I wanna know.
Haunting Adeline. I
Okay, I've
don't
never heard of
recommend
it.
it.
Yeah.
It's
It sounds smutty.
yeah, yeah. It's one of those the TikTok ones that people are big on,
Mm.
and it was not good. Not my thing to begin with, but it also just oh, do not recommend. Do not recommend.
Oh, there
There
you
is the
go.
Bully Boys song. I feel like in that one though, that kind of had like a tune that came easily, I think. But he had a couple of songs. I don't remember a song in one of Mike's books, but I definitely could be just forgetting. Um
It's easy when you read that much that, like, all of us do. You
yeah.
like, little things are easy to forget, unfortunately.
I mean my side more than hers. Her book was terrible. She got to read a good book that she would have never picked up, but
Did
we
she
read
like
to
it,
them.
though? Did
She
she
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
is she continuing with the series?
So she might at some point. I have to see, but she got mad um because I've read the whole thing and like knew like I'm like, oh, did you pick up on little details? And she didn't, and I'm just like, yeah, that's totally fine and normal to miss those things. But she's like, well, now I feel like I read the book a lot wrong, and so
Oh.
I'm just like, no, it's fine. But so she might at some point do it, but she's just like she's not like a big reader. It's just kind of when she feels like it, she'll read for like in spurts for a while. So
That's okay too. Not everybody has to be as crazy as we are, so
very true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the book budget for me is plenty. That if she also was doing the same amount, we'd probably be in some trouble. So it's good to just have one of us.
I mean, then you really have to start reading the same books. So you
I
would have to
know.
read more romance at that point. Otherwise, it wouldn't work, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm oh man, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll find a romance one that I like. I don't know, but like sometimes there are surprising things because there've been like series that Oh, what's the series name? The one with Fireborn, Rosaria.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
you
Oh, I
read that
don't know
one.
what the series is called, but yeah, I know which one
Okay.
you're talking about.
I can't remember, but I still need to read the last book. But that's not my thing at all, and I've really enjoyed the first two books.
That's
It's
good.
very much YA. It actually has a decent amount of like romantic subplot to it as well, and it just yeah, I don't know. I really liked it anyway, so it was
And I think that's the difference, right? Like there's smut, which the whole purpose is the smut of those books typically, no matter if it's fantasy as a, subgenre or whatever. I mean, the only thing is that the people are not humans, but orcs or what aliens or whatever. It's still smut. I mean, the whole purpose is still
yeah.
like two people meet and then, smut. With romance, I prefer romance without smut because then it's usually about the relationship and the characters more so, or there's a little bit plot then to it. And of course there's like very light Roman stuff, right, where the drama is, kind of made up and fake and whatnot, but then you have
Yeah.
books like Fireborn that have a whole story where romance just plays a like small part of it. And that is fine. Like if that falls under romance, I think it's totally fine, and that's a whole different experience than smut at the end of the day. Outlander, yeah,
Yeah.
I see that there. That's a good example. Yes,
Oh.
there's a lot of smut in there that I skip over usually, but there's a lot of good story in it, right? Like that, it's the focus point of Outlander is not the smut or the romance; it's the portal fantasy or the portal story and the historic elements, and there's a plot to it. Is what I'm trying to say.
I have a feeling that I'm not going to like Outlander, but it's one I will probably try someday just to try for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but oh, I missed this one from Evie with what we're currently reading. No, we're 26 minutes in and we've not talked about what we're reading. So, what are you reading?
I'm reading two books right now. I'm reading a romantasy.
Oh, hey, that's a perfect segue.
Yeah, one of the books that I'm currently reading is a romantasy. It's the third book in the Veilborn series by Lauren Petrozilka. It's also a portal fantasy with a character who is a Veilborn. She's human, but she has like some magical abilities that show up once she goes through the portal into the Veil, which is that other region. And then, stuff happens. Romantic stuff happens, but also story stuff happens. Also a little bit Lord of the Rings inspired, since we also talked about that
There you
already,
go.
so it fits very well too. With a really interesting plot too, a lot of drama, a lot of great like fae races going on. It's not just the romantasy, it's not just romance part, which is kind of interesting. And the other one that I'm reading is completely on the opposite end. It's The Unworthy by an author that I'm not trying to pronounce the name right now, but she also wrote Tender as the Flesh. So that's the same author, and it's weird. I'm not quite sure what I'm reading really, but it's good, I guess, so far.
That makes sense based on what I've heard about Tender is the Flesh.
Tender as the Flesh was fantastic. Weird, very, and you have to be okay with a certain topic, but I thought so first of all, the story, the world he came up with, I don't know, just in case someone doesn't know. Okay, Evie knows. Tender is a Flesh. Tender is the first name Augustina I can figure out, but the last name, please don't try me. I'm sorry. But
Baz
Tender is a
Tarika
Flesh.
would be my guess.
Mm.
I don't know.
Tender is the Flesh is a dystopian world. I don't know, a different world setting. Humans, right? We're still on Earth and all that kind of stuff, but there's no meat anymore. I forgot what it was. Like I think all the animals died or something like that.
Mm.
But people still want to eat meat, so they started like growing humans is the wrong word, but I'm blanking on what the correct English word is for that right now. Like as farm animals, and they are treated
Okay.
like the way it's described is like it's a cow situation. You have like a big stable thing with all the cows in there, which are humans, and they are then being slaughtered to eat to meat. So it's a cannibalism kind of situation. And it has been a while, but Evie can correct me here. But if I remember correctly, like their vocal organs are being removed, so they can't talk. They are all quiet. So you can't hear them scream and talk and build relationships and whatnot and that kind of stuff. And the idea, first of all, is just, so far out of what you would think about
Yeah,
ever
that's
in your
different.
life. So it's just such an interesting thing. You're like, okay, you would never do something like this. You would never think about something like this. So reading a story about something so outrageous essentially was very interesting in a very morbid and voyeuristic way. But then I also thought she set up the society in such an interesting way. Like all the ways she explained on how people eat people and how that has been normalized over the years, and like just how normal life works in that situation, and it's so weird and so good.
I am
So
morbidly curious now.
yes, that's exactly what it is. Like it's this morbid curiosity when you hear that theme of cannibalism, that it is normalized. You're like, what is going on here? And it's yeah, very accessible but awesome writing too, and it's just it's a weird but really good book. I really enjoyed that. And The Unworthy, I just started it, so I'm I don't know, 100 pages. No, it's 188 pages. I'm not that far in, maybe 50 pages in. And this is also still set on Earth, and but in the future. And from what I've grasped so far, is something must have happened that people live in like little communes essentially and don't let people from the outside in because they could be contaminated. And we're following a specific person. She is the unworthy, and how she lives in that little commune. And there are people who, and again, I'm blanking on the names right now. I'm terrible with that kind of very specific stuff. But you can basically go up in the ranks, and then you become someone better. But the question is, are they actually better? It's super weird. Like, and that writing is super weird. You're following her, like she writes a journal, so you're basically reading that journal, and it's just plain weird.
That sounds like it.
That was a horrible explanation. I'm not doing it justice, but it's
Oh
similar,
no, yeah, okay.
morbid, weird, than tender as the flesh is. So
I gotcha.
yeah.
Catch up here quick. I was not trying to. It was an accident. Nalini Singh, so paranormal fantasy where there is some romance. I know I've heard of that author. I can't think of any books, but the name definitely rings a bell. Um, yeah, that's fair. It's not
There's so
not
many
my
other
thing.
words to how you can say that. You have no idea. Read a smart book
Oh,
at one point, then
I,
you know.
I'm sure. So virus that makes eating animal meat deadly to humans.
There you go.
Darius
I
says
was
Soylent
close, at
Green.
least, Evie.
Yeah. So exploration of the meat industry, but with humans. So yeah, that does sound interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and then yeah, we got Mike here.
So maybe he can sing now.
Or in dance apparently.
Oh, both at the same time. I'm okay with that. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh goodness. Doing some more Valdemar and Discworld. I need to read. I still need to get back to Discworld too. I'm about halfway through. I just haven't done one in a little bit. Um, uh, for sure. So tender as the flesh, animal rage, the unworthy female rage. So a lot of rage. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm reading probably too many things at the moment.
Green Rider book 2.
I
No.
I am definitely going to continue. It probably won't be this month, but maybe next. But I started a book and then I haven't been back to it because I got sidetracked. But I just started Deathstalker by Simon R. Green
Never heard
today,
of
which
that.
is it's a sci-fi one, and it's good so far. But it seems like because I started the audio and the narrator is very good, but he seems slightly too serious for the book because there were some parts that feel like they're supposed to be a little silly and he just does them very serious, which almost made it funnier. But like he's doing a good job. But then I'm reading an e-arc of the Execution of Rooker Flynn by A.R. Witham, the last book in that trilogy.
Oh, is that
Uh,
out? Did he send those out already? I need to get
he
the
did,
series
yeah.
reading. Now that the third book is closed, I need to finally get the series reading.
I was
I
gonna say was super late getting to the first two. So this one I'm actually like reading ahead of time. And so but
Yeah, I was
uh
waiting on purpose. I've read his Blackjack book and really enjoyed it. It was really a fun journey. And then I said, no, I'm waiting with the other two till he is done with his trilogy so I can binge them all in one and don't have to wait. It's a
They
good.
that is a good idea because there's some things happening that'll make you want to immediately get to the next book. He's very mean with his endings.
Yeah,
Uh,
we know Andy. We know Andy.
yeah. Oh man. So it's twice, but yeah. So that's where I was really excited. It is very different from the Blackjack book in like tone, in kind of style, but it's really good. Like the first book, I'm just like I was kind of adapting to how different it was, and then I was so sold by book two. So I'm having a
Awesome.
really fun time with it.
Yeah, I heard that it's more adult, like where Blackjack is a bit more YA leaning, right? It's a bit younger, just from a writing
Yeah.
that Rooker Flynn is a bit more on the adult side. Is that, did I hear that right?
Yeah, it kind of toes the line a bit more, for sure, and it's still, something that, can be read by somebody younger as well, but it does have a bit more adult style content.
Okay.
Just not like adult, like that or anything, but just like for an adult audience. Um, and so that's where it made me kind of at first I was just like, oh, I'm not sure which direction, but then once you kind of know where it's going, especially if you're gonna binge, it works really well.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's more like an 80s prison movie than anything. Like it's totally different. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it is fun. So yeah, it's crazy, but we have a Deathstalker. Oh, I didn't realize it's that long of a series. So yeah, I'm having fun so far. That was Heidi who was here earlier. This is a patron pick from her to get to, and yeah, Brooker Flynn's been fun. Yeah, the cliffhangers are sadistic. Um, I can't even disagree with that. I am about a third of the way through so far, and it is yeah, it's really good so far. So I've really been enjoying it as
And we
well.
know it's a trilogy, right?
Mm.
Like he is not
Yes,
secretly putting another cliffhanger in book 3 and writing
he.
book 4.
Let me tell you, he better not be. I will riot. I will go to find his. I'll go to his house. So I'm gonna be near him in October, and I will go to his house and yell at him. Uh,
Because that, I don't know if I talked about it a couple of times, but I don't know if you're aware. Like with Green Rider, I for the longest time thought it's an 8-book series, and I thought it's done with book 8, because somewhere I read it, and I think it was like something where she had an 8-book deal with Daw Books or whatever, something like
mm,
that, you know. And then when I did a series review, also 3 or 4, whatever, 5 years ago, where I talked about it with. It's supposed to be 8 books. It was, like, I think, in preparation of when book 7 came out. And someone then pinged me. It's like, yeah, how do you know that? Like, I don't see that anywhere. And then I heard a little later that she wasn't planning on finishing the book. And when I read book 7, also, I kind of realized you cannot be done with book 8. So much happens in book 7, and you're introducing so many new things. Like, book 8 cannot be the last one. You will never be able to wrap it all up. And yeah, it is now the case. We already know there will be a book 9. So for a series that you've been reading for so long and you just want to end at one point. It's like, oh no, we have another book. So that's why I'm asking. You know, I'm a burnt child here with
oh, I
these
gotta.
types of things.
Yeah, that's it's hard with series too that are ongoing for a long time too, and then God forbid something happens to the
Oh God.
author, and they don't get finished, and like that's where I behind me the Rune Lords series. There's one final book, and it will be written. The author passed away several years ago, but somebody else is going to be finishing it. But it's just like there's been no real like update at all, and so it's kind of hard to know. And so it's just like, oh gosh, when we get the last book, and so there's at least though, because like man, 'cause I've had a couple like sadly because like the Hanuvar books. Um,
Yeah.
the third book is not the last book, but I think it was written knowing that it might have to be for a while. Because I mean, he his was not unexpected. He knew it was
Yeah.
coming and everything, but so at least was satisfying. But that was really sad because it's like some new favorite books for me. I really loved going there for sure. So
I mean, Brendan Sanderson has
hopefully nothing happens to
experienced
Brit.
in, yeah. No,
Yeah.
gosh, no. Wait, let me knocking on wood here for a second. Um, I mean, we know Brendan Sanderson is fit in finishing stuff now, so right? Maybe he just needs to be contracted to finish out all those series that no one else is finishing out. so we just get a ending at one point. So that's the big question, right? At what point do you say, I don't care what the ending is, I just want an ending? Like, just give me an ending. I don't want to wait 20 more years.
That's a good question, for
Even if it's
sure.
bad, I don't care. Just give me an ending to the series. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
there yet with Kristen Britain, at least, but with some other series.
Yeah, I could definitely see that in some ways where it is just to some point you just kind of want it. I think it depends on the series too, but there are like some of the famous unfinished ones I am refusing to read until they are finished, and then I will decide like Name of the Wind. And granted, I started A Song of Ice and Fire. I just didn't like it that much at the time, and
Fair.
I'm like, you know what? I will continue and or retry it when it's finished, if it ever is. And so,
If it ever is, yeah.
yeah.
I believe, and maybe I'm naive with that. I don't know. I believe we will get a book 6 eventually because he is so pressured and he will just write something and, throw it out there and be like, "Here, everybody. Go." But I don't think we will get book 7 ever. I don't think
Yeah.
that's in the cards. It was so funny. So I read Game of Thrones. It is a long time ago, like 15 years ago. I have no idea. Um,
Probably
uh,
about the same for me too, honestly.
yeah, and I read it back in when I was still living in Germany. I read it in German, which was 10 books. Yay. And I had no idea that it is such a big series. So I just found it in the bookstore randomly at one point. And my mom and I were like, "Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. Let's get the first book. Let's see what it is." And we loved it. Like we both read it and we loved it and we bought all the other books then like one after another and pretty much binged the whole thing. And then after book 10, which is obviously the second half of book 5, once that ended, I was like, this feels kind of incomplete. Like this is a weird ending. There's still like 3, 4 plot lines that are open, but there was no other book. And it's like, okay, fine. And, moved on with my life. I didn't even realize that it is such a big fantasy series, and
Oh
then
yeah.
two, that it was not finished at that point. I also didn't Google, I was not that big into researching my books back then. But yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't realize it till they started with the TV show. And then, there was a lot more talk about Game of Thrones and what a big series it is and how important it is in the fantasy world and not, and then it's not finished. It's like, oh, okay, good. Now I know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta find out at some point. So I feel
Yeah.
like I mean, I don't know. That's one of those things. I feel like sometimes the older fantasy series, that's just what they would do. Sometimes they would just end and not a lot got wrapped up, but it just like there are books like that. And so it's like, is there more? And it was kind of like, I don't know. If I get a new deal with my publisher, maybe there'll be more, but
Yeah.
maybe not. And so sometimes things were written like that. So it's not, I've definitely read books where I'm just like, is this the end? Is there more? Like, especially I used to just pick up random books and series, and without looking into it and finding out, you just don't
Yeah.
know sometimes. And sometimes like books just sit for a while before they get it finished. And like there's a series, it's just off screen, but it's The Tales of Durand by David Keck, and there's the 2 books, and then there just was nothing for like 10 years. And then after like 10 years, the 3rd book came out. And so it's like all that time. And granted, like you could stop after book 2 and it's probably fine. It hasn't wrapped everything up, but it kind of works. And I didn't know at the time when I read that there was or wasn't going to be another book. It just was, those were the ones that were there. So
Yeah.
happens
Wasn't there
sometimes.
one this year? Oh, I'm blanking on the series right now, but there was a release this year for a series that was published forever ago, and they finally published the last book. That annoys me now that I'm not remembering which one it is. But there was one of those again this year too. I remember that. I will get to it at a later point. It's also one of the bigger known, better known fantasy series that people generally loved, and they have been waiting for the last book in forever, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, Wars of Light and Shadow got finished fairly
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
Was that one, but I'm trying to think what that could be. Tell us in the chat if you know. Um,
I'll look it up
I
later and
say
put it in the comments, worst case scenario.
Tad Williams did finish his newer series, but that wasn't that far off.
No, that it was not Ted Williams, and it was not the Witcher series. I know there's another book
Okay.
coming out. It was like I believe it was a trilogy or a quartet, but it was
We're
also not
getting lots
Matthew
of guesses.
Corbet. No, it was not that one either. It was a shorter series. I'll find it. I'll put it in the comments after the live. I'll find it later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So, see, Derry, this would be true, except I'm reading in publication order, and I can't get myself to not do that at this point. So I'm reading them all in order.
Thanks,
Rush
Andrew.
or underwhelming, then no. I could kind of see that. So it's a fine line of when you get
Yeah.
a
I
bad
mean,
ending
for
versus
for
just a
Game of
rush.
Thrones, I'd rather have a rushed or underwhelming ending at this point because we know we will not get an ending. I highly doubt it. And I mean, give us an alternative to the TV show ending, which was underwhelming, but give us a different underwhelming option, and then we can pick which one was better or worse, and we can just live with it.
Yeah.
Anticipation is not everything. I know that is a thing that parents tell you when you grow up. It's bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. AP can. I think this is for Game of Thrones to outline.
To finish the
Hey,
series, yeah. I
that could
mean,
work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have Andrew. He wants attention paid to him. He's screaming. Oh, there's a bunch of these. Okay. So your hair looks great.
Thank you.
It says uh now I was just saying no Evie
Sorry,
wants to know
Evie.
too.
I'll find it. I put it in the comments. I'll ping you afterwards. It's driving me nuts right now too, but I don't want to sit here for the next half hour and be like, what was it? What was it? What was it? It's not
We are
entertainment.
not talking about anything else until we figure it out.
Well, we will sit here all night then. Sorry, guys.
Oh goodness. I was gonna say Andrew does act like a toddler at times, so this is a fair comparison. He's still like I skipped several of these. These are all individually different comments. Oh my goodness.
I
So
will not that's between the two of you. I'll stay out of that one.
so anyway, AI is an interesting topic. No.
That was a nice segue.
I've been told I'm very gifted with segues, but
okay, can I do like a current reroute because I actually wanted to continue talking with you about Green Rider since
yeah, no, let's
you
do
know. So first of all, I love that so many people are currently reading it because I've been screaming into the void for years now, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm loving the love right now. But so Green Rider, since you read book 1, which is very
Yes.
adventure heavy, just it's not a warning is the wrong word, but just as an FYI, the series changes a little bit, so it's not all adventure quest and you go through the forest, although there's a lot of walking through the forest throughout the series. But book 2 and 3 give you a lot more of the world and the backstory and everything, and build up. Book 4 is really, really dark. There's some like if you think about the spider crabs, there's some similarly interesting stuff happening then. Book 5 is my all-time favorite, which is a hot opinion because book 5 has the lowest rating and people hated it at that time. I think book 5 makes the series so unique because it introduces something that takes it a little bit away from being like that standard typical fantasy with Tolkien inspiration. It goes far away from that part. And then 6, 7, and 8 are more plot driven, where just a lot of stuff happens, and you get to see a lot more of the world, a lot more of the history, but it's really fast paced, all 3 of them, and a lot of stuff happens, and it's just I'm so excited for you to eventually get to all of these.
Yeah.
I just needed to say my piece on this one.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. So we just kept getting like very much going off topic and miscellaneous wrangling around. So I was definitely fine to talk more Green Rider, but yeah, it does make the cutoff of female written 90s fantasy, which is my niche. So that's where it was always on the list anyway. But I for the most part, and that's what I'm telling myself, is even though Mercedes Lackey wrote a lot in the 90s, Valdemar started in the 80s, so it doesn't technically count as 90s. And so far, for the most part, things that I've read by female authors that started publishing in the 90s are like I've had really good experiences so far.
Yeah, me too. Like that has for the longest
but
time. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. Which hey, it's I don't know why that's a thing. It just is. But
yeah, well, there are so many though. Like Trudy Canavan is a great one. She
Still need
has
to read.
written. Have you read her yet?
I have not. I have one of her books now, but
Oh my god. I have read all the like the two trilogies that are connected, the Sonia series, whatever, like there are two trilogies that where you have to read the one first and the other afterwards because it happens after the first three. Oh, of course. And then there's a standalone trilogy that is not in the world, which is like with five gods, and I loved that back then. It was so good. Um and
so I was just talking about this with somebody today because they told me to make sure that I read them in the right order
yeah.
because it's a thief something, I
Oh my
think.
goodness. Now I have to hang on.
Oh, I was gonna say I
Trudy
think
Canavan. She hasn't written anything anymore either. So there's the Black Magicians trilogy. So Age of the Five trilogy, that's the standalone one that you can read. I mean, obviously you need to read the trilogy in order, but you can read that at any given time
oh,
because it's
that's
a
a deal
different
breaker.
story.
I
That's
like to
what?
read trilogies out of order personally. No, I'm kidding.
Wait, what?
I'm kidding.
What?
uh,
um, Oh,
Thief
Traitor,
Magic.
Spy, and Black Magician. Those are the two that are connected, and I believe you have to
Okay.
read I'm saying this wrong now, obviously, but probably, but I believe you have to read Black Magician first and then the Traitor, Spy. Let me see. That's one of the rings, I believe.
So yeah, I have the first book of Millennium's Rule, Thief's Magic,
Yeah, that's
which looks
her
good.
other that's a quartet, I believe, right? Yeah, that's a
Okay.
quartet. That is also separate. And then I believe she
Okay.
started a new series. She put book one out and then never continued, if I remember that correctly.
Okay.
If it was her, could be. But yeah, Trudy Canavan is in the same vein. Like it's the 90s fantasy, but my goodness, I ate that up back then when I read those. That was a whole binge through all of her books all of a sudden, and they were so good.
It's definitely an author I want to get to. So that's I just I like a lot of 90s fantasy anyway, and I just I don't know, for some reason, because there's plenty of male authors that I've liked as well, but for some reason, I don't know, it's the female written 90s fantasy. It's just been is rarely let me down so far. So
Yeah.
I just got some Sarah Douglas books that I'm going to try soon, which is in there, and I don't know how I'll feel about, but we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
Um,
What else? Karen Miller is also really good. Also
I just
divided, but everybody loved her. I
So
liked her.
it's funny that you say Karen Miller because I was just at Trin Portal Magic, if you
Mhm.
know her. So I got both the Sarah Douglas books and some Karen Miller books from her because she was unhauling them. And I was watching her unhaul video earlier today too, and she's like, "Yeah, I sold a bunch of these really quick." And I'm like, "That's code for Nico bought them." And then later she like doesn't call me out, but she's like, "Yeah, a friend of mine decided he needed all of my 90s female fantasy." And I'm just like, "Yeah, guilty." So I that's where I got all of those from. So I just recently had gotten some, and then she mentioned Trudy Canavan in there too, but I have one of her books. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I'm so curious, and I'm pretty sure Elizabeth Hayden was 90s, and
I
I hated her
ooh.
books so much. So she's so far the only like really bad one
So,
for
yeah,
me.
I'm curious then what you say about Karen Miller because you will hate the main character, at least with the one series. Ugh, now I have to look it up again. I'm horrible with names, especially if I read it like 15 years ago.
I have the Innocent Mage one.
Empress. So I read Empress, the Godspeaker trilogy, and
Okay,
you're going to hate that main character, but it's meant to be that
interesting.
way. You're meant to hate
Okay,
her. I've never hated a character so much, but that's why I love this book so much. You have Innocent
interesting.
Mage, you said?
Yeah, I have that dual
Mhm.
that Kingmaker, Kingbreaker, I think.
Yeah.
I have that
Mhm.
duology.
Yeah, and that was a duology, and then she added the last book, the Blight of Mages or
Oh,
something at
I
one
didn't know that.
point, which I believe is actually it's before I forgot what it was exactly, but you just read the 2, and then if you want to, you can read Blight of Mages, but,
Okay.
I believe it's actually before I've not read it yet. It's before the duology.
Okay.
I'm saying a bunch of things, I have no idea if they're true. I'm just making shit up today.
I know, it's all good, it's all good. So, as long as you say it confidently, people will believe you, and that's what's
That
important,
is
so
very true. That is very true. It depends. It depends. Unless it's, and now we're getting to the AI topic, it's a woman talking about tech, because women definitely have no clue about technology, and I couldn't
Oh, I
possibly
definitely.
know how AI functions. So I cannot intelligently speak about AI.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm the one. I have very, very little knowledge about any of that. But that's a good time to jump in. I will really quickly breeze through the comments, which a lot of it I
Yes.
think was still Andrew being angry. Um,
They had their
uh,
own conversation
I,
besides us. Like, yeah, we're good.
I, I
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sad too that you didn't like it, Andrew. I'm still a little bit mad, but not really.
I can kick him out if you want. Just let me know.
No,
Um,
no. That's the problem because I actually like Andrew, but that really is a conflict there with that he didn't like that. No, I'm just kidding.
oh man. I think Andrew convinced me I wasn't going to like the series,
So you get
and
the books
I'm
from
I've been
Andrew,
right into it.
right? He sent you the mass market paperbacks?
Yeah, he did a while
Yeah, he
back.
got them
Yeah.
from me. So you got them from
Yes.
me around 5 quarters.
I have not
Melanie
read
Ron.
have you read
Yes.
Melanie Ron?
No, but that's also one of those authors. Elizabeth Bear, I believe, is also one of those 90s authors, right?
Is she 90s? I have not read anything from her,
Is she
but
80s, 90s? But she's
I
also,
don't know.
I don't know.
I
We're
have
at
some
this
knowledge
point,
about
we are
her.
all old. So
I really wanna read Dragon Prince, and
yes, I have that.
I've been told it might be a little bit romancy for my taste, but, I'm still very interested. Oh, that's a much nicer copy than the ones I have.
Yeah.
These are, like, really old mass market paperbacks. Granted, that's absolutely like a romancy cover. It's
But I
not
mean, a
focusing, but
lot of fantasy and
this is
sci-fi
true.
books back then were kind of like it was wait, hang on. Was it Elizabeth Bear that I was just talking about? Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. No, no, no. The series that ended. Come on, give me the
Oh,
series that ended. Was that the one? Because
are we
her
finding out?
hang on. 2019, 2020, 2025. Okay, it was not that long. But there was The Ancestral Night, which is, I believe, one of her better known sci-fi books. And the last book now came out 5 years later. Okay, it's not that long. I
Okay.
said it with confidence, so it was true. There you go.
Exactly. It was true. It was true. Ben asked about yeah, I'm technically reading The Sun Also Rises, but I tried the first few chapters and I have not gone back to it. It's been pretty boring. I Hemingway might just not be for me. Um,
Oh god, it's Hemingway. Oh jeez.
yeah. So as a quick aside, I read one of his short stories with Murphy and I just like it was like 8 pages and I'm just like, okay, like there was just nothing really to it. There wasn't anything special. And just for fun afterward, I looked up a literary analysis and read some person's 2-page essay on why it's the greatest thing ever written and I'm just like, all right, whatever.
I'm
Okay.
out.
I'm glad you like it, but like that's such a stretch. I mean, come on. Uh, Andrew's supposed to be playing D&D.
I
Oh,
mean,
and
we
it looks like he
can
left.
throw some dice around, Andrew, if that helps you.
Mike definitely has oh, no.
Oh, oh.
Um,
That it's not a live chat with Nico if he doesn't disappear suddenly at one point. Oh, is he
I
calling
don't
you
know
now?
why it's a theme. At least you can still hear me, right?
Yes, you're there. I mean, I can hear you. I
Okay.
don't know if the rest can. I assume that would be weird otherwise. I'm talking to a
It should
ghost otherwise. There he
Hey,
is.
there we go.
Hello.
I didn't even bump it. It's the cord is a little fickle. Um, so
My
that's
dog
one of those things.
ate the homework.
That's another so I have
Yes, JV Jones. That's what I keep hearing too. That's
um
also one of those books. Did you know? Okay, so here's how blind I am to the world sometimes. I didn't know it's a woman. I always
I
thought it's
think
a
that's pretty
man.
common.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think that's there because there's some of those authors that they did that because like I can't remember the actual name, but C.S. Friedman is a woman as
That
well.
one, yes, that one, and that one is also one of those that I want to read. Like, there's so many really
Same.
cool old. Oh my good, Nico, we need to do like a year-long buddy reads with throughout all
I'm
the
down.
series.
Yeah, just
2026,
the
Nico, is our year.
tw 2026 is all year 90s female fantasy. Let's do it.
I mean, we can also throw in some 80s and early 2000s and sci-fi and whatnot. Like,
This
I'm
is
not,
true.
but like older stuff.
It's such an easy sell for me. It really is.
We have planned.
Uh,
Next year's content is planned. Perfect. Yes, that is very true.
yeah, they're entertaining yourselves. Um, okay,
Oh,
so
see, there
Derry
you go.
thinks I will enjoy drag. That's good to know because Derry's been pretty spot on for the most part. Um,
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll see. See, there's so many things I don't know. There you go. There's another one of those.
so okay, then maybe I was thinking of a different author because I did read. If I think if that's the author, I tried reading one of their series and did not care for it, but it was like a newer thing, so I don't know. But anyway, we should looking back, we've
An
caught up
hour
on the
in.
chaotic
An hour
chat.
in.
Yes. Well, because I was really curious to talk more about that because if you haven't seen it yet, Fina did a really great video talking about AI with books, and she like did a lot of research. She polled both authors and booktubers. I know I responded to the survey for it to get a bunch of opinions on AI and was talking about it and actually like knows what she's talking about too, which is I mean, it's you certainly said you said everything with confidence, so I firmly believed you knew what you were talking about at least. Um, but yeah, no, it is I think such an interesting topic, and I feel like your video made me feel like because I was one of the people that like I didn't really have strong opinions, but then I started seeing a lot of people in the creative space like really talking about all of the negatives, and I'm like, I totally get that. So then I kind of went over from I have no opinion to very like anti for the most part. But I also like I haven't done much, but my work is also like a big push to use AI more and stuff and that kind of thing. So I've tried to dabble. So it's an interesting topic. You did. There was a really fascinating video.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping for because it's a tricky topic to talk about because there are so many strong opinions on it. And and there's the word AI slop for a reason. I didn't want it to be a video that is just, a whole bunch of regurgitating the same thing and just throwing my opinion out
Yeah.
there and, adding to that whole mix that no one needs a video like this anymore. There are way too many out there already. So I just wanted to see, and there's a lot of videos too on authors and AI, right? Like how authors can use AI or shouldn't use AI, depending on, which direction you go. But there was no information on what readers actually think, readers, reviewers, right? And that was kind of like the whole start for this because I wanted to see how other like you, right? How other booktubers or bookstagrammers or book talkers or book skiers whatever book platforms reviewers think about the topic because I know in the author world, like every time I talk with authors or if you look online you see like they hate it, it's killing the creativity and we don't want this and yada yada yada. I mean, at least in the areas that I'm mostly in my echo chamber of social media. um but there is very little on what reviewers think. Do they even care if a book was written by AI? Like, do they have as strong opinions, or is the opinion completely different? Or um, the one topic that I talked a little bit about is can they even tell that kind of stuff? So that's why I put, I mean, a not very scientific survey, but I came up with a bunch of questions that I thought would be interesting. And yeah, that's what the video is. I mean, there's a bit of author too because I just threw it in through the mix as well. I thought it would be good to see both sides, author and readers. And some things where I was not really surprised on the results. I was like, yep, like I could have figured that much. But there were
Yeah.
some really interesting comments too, especially because I also tried to get a very broad view of survey results. So I didn't just, as I just said, I didn't just throw the survey out in my echo chamber. I tried to find like other areas of social media and forums and the internets where there are more people that are more pro AI, if you want to say, to get their opinions as well and their thoughts on that topic. And yeah, it was very interesting. Some interesting comments and definitely an interesting topic. Very, very interesting topic in general.
Yeah. Well, it is because and you had talked about can people really tell, and that does have. I'd be really. I do kind of vaguely remember you mentioned Mark Lawrence did a thing where
Yeah.
he compared. I would be. I feel like that would be an interesting thing to like go through and figure out. Like, okay, can you tell?
Yeah.
Um, Because at least for me, and like, because I've been lately, I've been trying a little bit with like my work has an AI tool, and you're supposed to use to be able to use to like summarize things, or like you can give it like an email, and it's supposed to like make it more professional. And
Mhm.
I've tried a couple of times. Like I write my email and I put it in, and it always makes it come off as like really robotic. And I look at that, and I'm like, that was written by AI, like 1,000%. And I just
Yeah.
like I ended up being like, yeah, I'm not sending that. I'm going to stick with mine every time. And
Yeah.
granted, some of that is probably my own bias against it, but it's just I'm just like, I don't know. At least for that. So that's kind of what I think about. But you kind of mentioned is like, are you going to have authors who just aren't very good getting accused of you using AI? Because I've definitely started that, or like I start a book and I'm like, oh, this is very bad. Don't know if they used AI or not. It might just be that it's not very good. And uh, I I get sent a lot of review requests. I don't accept very many of them,
Mhm.
partially just because of time.
Mhm.
But I try to, at least if it's obvious, because I get a ton where it's just like people like, "Do you want to check out the new Romantasy?" And I'm like, "Oh, me, the guy who's said a million times on his channel he doesn't like that? No, I don't. In fact,
Come on,
so
Nico.
I've started when I get those, I just respond with my like 20-minute video I made about review copies, and nobody's ever responded when I send that, but I just send that link, nothing else, and I'm
Yeah.
like, there, that's all you're getting from me. Because I usually respond to everyone at least,
Yeah.
even if it's, hey, this does not sound like it's for me, blah blah blah. And occasionally, if it's like a particularly bad email, I'll try to be like, hey, this is really bad. Here are some things you should consider before reaching out to other people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Dear
I
authors, please do your own research on, your target audience and who
yes,
you want to send
just
review copies
even
to.
just a
Not
little.
that hard.
'Cause I get about 1,000,000 of the MailChimp templates that's like, "Discover the blank of blank," and it's this, and they're all the same. They all look
Yeah.
exactly the same, and almost none of them have done any sort of research on who they're sending it to
No.
whatsoever. And so it's just, you can use tools like, kinda like AI, you can use tools like that as a tool, but you can also just use it to crank out low effort slop, and it shows when you do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I feel like, and so
It's tricky. So, I mean, I haven't written a book with AI, right? I'm not an author. But I've written a lot of, like, blog posts for work. I talked about that in the video too, right? I've been using AI for work for, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years now. I've worked at an AI company before where I actually, helped with the development of AI, and it was not like general AI, not like a ChatGPT thing, but for big businesses like think AT&T and T and whatnot. Like for their, chatbots for their website when you can
mm,
talk with one of those things. So that's kind of what I worked for. So I've talked with a lot of the folks on how natural language models work and that kind of stuff. Um, and I mean, that was like, I think till 3 years ago, and I worked at that company for 7 years or so. So between 10 and 3 years ago.
so you
A lot.
definitely have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
Okay.
no, but a lot has changed. I mean, you have to be fair. In the last 3 years, by golly, like, that so much has happened with AI. It's crazy how good stuff has
That's
become,
fair.
compared to 3 years ago. But it is like, AI really is a tool. It doesn't like, if you give it something, the first thing that comes out, it's because it's, now I'm getting ahead of myself. Hang on. Because it's a topic I'm actually very passionate about. I think I find AI very interesting. I don't think it can replace creativity or creative things, but I find it as
Mhm.
a tool very interesting, and I'm very curious on how can you manipulate it to get something good out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and, it's definitely one of those where because it's trained on the typical stuff, right? So I like to compare it to if you think about fantasy, right? There's a lot of fantasy out there. It's the new Game of Thrones, or it's like Game of Thrones married with Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of this stuff because people know this is what's loved. Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, these types of stories are very loved for a reason. So there's a lot of similar stuff out there for that reason, because that's a market I know I can sell to, right? I know I will have people that will buy this stuff. And AI works in a similar manner. Like, it looks at the whole interwebs and sees, okay, this is like the general theme. Like, everybody loves Game of Thrones, so I look at all the Game of Thrones stuff and lookalikes, and that's what I will give you as an answer, because that's the most likely thing you will enjoy as your answer if you ask me something related to that. So to your point with the email, right? Like, there are very specific, like, very predictable ways on how internet content is written and how emails are written and, forum stuff is written. And that's what it spits back out at you, like the simple stuff and the very predictable, simple way of saying certain things. And it doesn't sound pretty. So you have to go back and forth till you're at a point where, like, oh, great, this is my voice, but now it sounds better. Kind of stuff. And that's how it's kind of how I use it for work too. Like when I write a blog post, or I actually use it for email too, because I work in 2 languages. I have to write in English and reply to emails in English and German. And sometimes my brain just doesn't, work in one or the other language. So I know it sounds funky, but I have no idea how to fix it. So I throw it into AI and then I, wordsmith around it a little bit. And then till I have something where, like, yep, that's still me, but now it makes sense. And now I can ship it, right? And it takes time. Like I couldn't do that on day one, and I definitely had to learn how to tell it what I actually want. And like if I do like a marketing campaign, like I want plan a new marketing campaign, and I want it to help me with brainstorming and whatnot, I have like a very long prompt up front, like pretend to be huh, and then don't use huh, and don't use the, and ignore these types of things, and do it like this but not like this, and have a tone like this. Like I have a super long preamble that I've built over the months that I've been using this now, to help it actually then give me something that is closer to what I want without going back and forth 300 times. I just have to go back and forth maybe 30 times. So it's yeah, it's interesting. But that's a different use case. That's not a creativity use case. AI doesn't make stuff
Yeah.
up, right? AI cannot come up with a unique, new, fancy idea. It uses what's commonly known. And again, I'm saying this in layman's terms. There's a lot more in the back end, but like it uses what's commonly known. I've read an article on how it provides names. If you like ask it to help with a book outline and book writing and whatnot, how it comes up with the names and how it uses the most common names that people tend to like. Like I find that very fascinating. But yeah, that's it's not creative. It doesn't come up with something new. It just meshes something together that it thinks is the most likely thing you would want to hear in that scenario. So
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Is actually, I honestly, I don't know a lot about it, and it's not something that I've gone. And you mentioned too, people tend to get really hard line either side, and I still like, I don't have a super vested interest in it.
and that's
I
fair.
am.
That's totally fine.
We got to know, and I clicked on the wrong one here, but so Ben says AI could create a great book, still wouldn't be interested. Same reason, not attracted to anonymous authors. Likes knowing who's
Yeah.
communicating on the other end
That was
and
one of the big
knowing.
topics too. Yeah, like knowing the person, like that was because I asked, like one of the questions that I had in the survey was what AI cannot do, and a lot of the answers to that was the human that writes the book, like the connection
Yeah.
the author has to the book, and with that to the readers. At least that's how I translated the comments that I got. But generally, there's a real person behind it, and not the fact that a real person wrote it, but that there's a real person you can interact with, and that you can reach out to the author and talk to them, and have those conversations, or that you can follow them on whatever social media platform and see what they throw out there, and talk with them through that or whatever. That was
Yeah.
a big one. On this is what AI cannot do. Of course not. It's not a human. It's a
What it makes me
machine
wonder too,
algorithm.
like 10 years ago, would I have cared nearly as much? Because, I didn't regularly interact with authors all of the time. I didn't
Yeah.
personally know and have connections with all kinds of authors, both in the traditional and the, self-pub place. And it's just so like I'm so much more in even though I'm not an author myself, but I'm so much more connected to so many people and like people that are authors or doing art or stuff like that too. So that's where it's like that's kind of more where I look. And I do think, yeah, it's because you can, especially like really good books, you can feel like the author and like their passion through it. And I feel like you're not going to get that. It's, probably always going to be a little bit clinical, but um, I do think, yeah, there's a lot of discussion with AI as a tool versus people do tend to immediately go to like,
Yeah.
oh, this AI is going to write this 400-page book, and
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be. And so
I
the
would
way you
love
described it too makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would love, because right, as I said, if you just let AI go, it gives you something very boring, very predictable back. But I would love to get 2 books from the same author, like an experienced writer, someone who did writing exercises and, published maybe a couple of books. Like, I would love to get from that person 2 books, not knowing which one of that was written by that person. I don't care about spell check or whatnot. Like, use AI, I don't care. Like, that's personally whatever. But where you did all the, like, the human did all the outlining, the human did all the creative work, the human did all the writing, and then maybe just the spell checking was the AI, that's fine. And then another book where the author experimented with AI, got a little bit more proficient with how to write prompts and whatnot, but then see what that, because it's, I had one slide in the video too where one author showed like how much back and forth there was with the AI, where they wrote a chapter and then they fed it into the AI and they got feedback on certain sentence structures or certain wording or how, add this, remove that, blah, blah, blah. And then wrote again and then fed it back into the AI. Like, there was a lot of back and forth. And I would love to see, because that was not an experienced author. They themselves said,
Hmm.
like, I've never written a book. I've never done a writing exercise, none of that. That someone who has experience in writing wrote then a book. And I would love to read both and see, does it make a difference? Is
That
it
would be
obvious?
interesting.
Is it not obvious? I would love to see that. I don't think I don't know, like, who knows, right? If an author hears this now, you don't have to just send me an email. You don't have to do this publicly or anything. I would love, send me 2 books. Don't tell me which one was AI, which was only written by you. I would love to read those and make a comparison. Yeah, I would be fascinated in seeing that, because the majority of what I've seen when I did my research was people who weren't writers doing this, and then it was like the one book I read was not great. I mean, it was a decent book, but it was not great. Um, but it's usually inexperienced people or people who don't like use AI as much as you would think they do, right? They maybe do some brainstorming, they do the whole research thing, and they do some spell checking, thesaurus, blah blah blah, but it's not
Yeah.
technically the AI writing it. So yeah, I would love to see that. Just for out of my own curiosity to see if it's actually really possible if you have, the comparison on what the difference really is. But I don't know
Yeah.
if I'll ever get that.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting. But so what has actually just popped into my head, which is totally different, but I'd be curious because I thought it was an interesting factoid. I don't know if you ever read The Man from High Castle, Philip K. Dick. Uh,
No, also on my list of
okay.
classic sci-fi that
I
I need to read for that purpose.
I did not care for it personally. However, the interesting thing is there's a specific character, and it's kind of a recurring thing in there where they use the I Ching, which is I'm gonna probably describe this badly, but it's like these like sticks that it's like a Chinese thing, and you throw the sticks, and it's supposed to like tell your fortune or like
Okay.
make a decision or something.
Yeah.
And that's a recurring thing in there. And at the end, he says, the author, actually himself, Philip K. Dick, says that he actually used that specifically to make decisions about the book. He
Oh, that's
would, when he got to a
interesting.
point, he would do this. He would use the I Ching, and then that's what would decide what happened next in some
Yeah.
circumstances. And so, obviously, not the same thing, but that's a very well respected and beloved book where the author was just kind of letting something, he was like asking something else for so
Yeah.
like and to me, I'm like, yeah, that tracks because I felt like some things just didn't make a lot of sense or kind of just happened. But that is a extremely like well-known book. And so I kind of curious just on that because it's kind of a similar concept in a way. It's
Yeah,
not the same
written with
thing, but
faith, like,
mm,
decided by faith on what happens next. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, we've got let's see. So with art, there's certain intentionality that AI won't be able to replicate, won't mean anything. Um, I do agree that some man-made art doesn't seem to either, but
That's
that's
the
one of those
banana
things
taped
too.
to the wall. Yeah. Mhm. True.
Yeah. Um, so being able to, yeah, learn about authors, I think that makes
So
sense.
that is something I know you talked about this before just now too, Nico. That is something that I had to learn with BookTube. I was a reader that never cared about the author. I never, like, I didn't want to know. I actually
Mm,
went out of my way to not learn anything about the author, because it's same with an actor, right? You never meet your hero type of situation.
that's fair.
especially if I loved a book, I didn't want to know what the author does. Like I didn't want to know what they did, because there's always, especially now with social media, right? There's then always something with like, oh, you can't read this author because blah 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 blah. It's like, but I still like the story. Like, come on, people. So I had to learn that with BookTube to separate the two in my head and appreciate the author and their creativity and learning from them versus appreciating the story and loving the story for what it is. So that's really interesting. And I know people, everybody's different and everybody loves experiencing
Yeah.
things a very different way. But yeah, so I get what Ben is saying though. I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, no, I can get that, and that's where I feel like I've been somewhat in the middle because like there's plenty of things where like I don't immediately go up and like try to find stuff about the author, but like if it's a series that I really love, like I bought the encyclopedia and the other book that came with the Wheel of Time, and half of it was just a Robert Jordan biography, and and because so like there are times where I'm interested, but that's where like I said, I think partially it's just I it's still weird to me sometimes that I just get to interact with authors and like talk to authors and stuff just as casually as I'm talking to you, and like it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy to me because that was not a thing I ever even thought about as being a
Yeah.
possibility. And that's why whenever I've asked people, I always feel like I can't ask them, and then they say yes, and I'm like, why would they agree? It's
Yeah.
it's still
Same.
just kind of
Same.
weird thing. So that's become important, but it can be hard to separate that too sometimes too, because with either if it's something bad happens or if like you know somebody like they're great, you really like them, and then you don't like their book, that's also
Or the
going
other
the
way
other
around,
way.
right?
Yeah,
You
I've
really
had
love the
that
book, but
before.
you meet the person, you're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, and so I mean it can go either way. So
Mm.
I think interesting for sure with that.
That's a whole different controversial topic, probably.
Is yeah, separating the art from the artist is always a tough and controversial thing. So doing used feedback for emails or feedback. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I said about like my emails being bad. I have no idea what I'm doing, so it probably is my fault. To be fair, I've really not used it much. I heard a lot of so I don't work in IT, but I'm IT adjacent, so I work with a lot of software engineers, and there's kind of a push for them to use AI more. And I've heard a lot of them like complaining, but then the person will be like, well, if you read the guidelines, it says that you need to provide very clear upfront prompts to give it a framework to do what
Yeah.
it needs to do,
Yeah.
and so they're kind of getting used to it. So I've been exposed a little bit to that kind of thing as well too. So
Yeah.
it's it's interesting because yeah, I have my two different worlds where like in the creative space, I have a pretty like anti AI type of view for sure. But then also I like at work, I'm constantly having AI like shoved at me like this is an amazing tool, use it. And so it's been interesting. And I think
Yeah.
it's a complicated topic,
Oh, absolutely.
for
And
sure.
there's no right or wrong answer or no easy answer. Definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hello. We have the book lounge joining us here as well. So Derry says ability for readers to connect to authors is so much easier now, not just because of the internet, but the pressure on authors to do their own marketing. The
Yeah.
authors don't
Well,
have to
indie
really
too,
do
right? Since indie is
it.
becoming more and more popular. Um, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does make it harder to separate for sure, though. I can absolutely get that. As well. And that's where it's just like, even though I know it doesn't make any sense logically, especially authors I've interacted with, if I end up not liking some of their stuff, even if it's like an author I love, but then I just don't like one thing they've written, I kind of like feel bad about it. Like I know I shouldn't, but again, it's like it does get harder to
Yeah.
separate, especially once you've interacted with somebody.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
and you don't know how the author then reacts too, right? So you're like, I'm also always very careful with how I word certain things and how I say certain things in my review, what I like versus I not versus not, because I don't know how the author reacts too, right? Like how does the author accept critique of their own work? Because it's their baby. They've spent
yeah,
potentially years writing this, and it's scary to publish your to bring your baby into the world like this and have it be judged by others, right? And it's I totally get it, and that's why I'm always having a certain respect on, okay, how do I tell you now, like, I really did not like it, and you have so many typos in
yes,
there, like, dude, why did you publish this? Yeah, I'm making this up right now, but you know,
yeah.
yeah.
It's hard. It really is. And like I've had with providing feedback too, and I used to not DNF review copies ever until it was like killing my reading because
Mhm.
I was forcing myself through books I didn't like, and just it was so I've started to, but I try to give some like feedback, like, hey, this is what didn't work for me, and give like constructive feedback. And most people have taken it pretty well. I have had some who took it very poorly, and it's hard, especially with like if it's somebody that with like the random things. Um, but like I had an author on the show whose book I didn't mesh with super well, and he was totally cool with the feedback, and we chatted and still ended up having him on here, and everything, it was a fun time. And
Yeah,
so it can still be good, but it can definitely be hard sometime. um
that's what we signed up
ben
for.
with the Robert Jordan thing, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, Robert Jordan did live an interesting life. So knowing something about the author can absolutely end up giving you insight into way they write some things for sure. So uh very true. Yeah. I mean, big authors, you are mid-list too, tend to have to do a lot of their own stuff, I think. If you're like the really big person, you'll get marketing, but there's still only so much.
Yeah,
Word of mouth is bigger than ever, weirdly enough, despite
yeah.
being the internet age. So,
Well, I mean, Sanderson also
Mm.
self-publishes, right? I mean, all his secret projects, as an example, or his
Yeah.
leather-bound books, that's not, I believe at least, that's not through the publisher, right? Like the leather-bound big ones.
Yeah,
Um,
that's through him.
yeah, and then he has his, I mean, Dragonsteel, isn't that his own publishing house? Listen, I've only read the first book of Mistborn and some of the
Yeah, it's all
secret.
good.
I'm not an expert in Brandon Sanderson by any means, but yeah, he has like he has its own merch, he has its own publishing house. Like he has to do a lot more marketing. But then I don't know, I don't. Yeah, but generally, yes, I think it's just through social media and through how the online internets works today. I always, every time when I say internet, I have to think about IT Crowd. Do you know that TV show IT Crowd with the
Yes, I love
box,
it.
the
Yeah.
black box with the red dot? This is the internet. This is the internet. Yeah, and then the whole, yes. So
I'm probably going to immediately rewatch that show now, just for the record, because it does not take much of such a great show.
yeah,
Uh,
hello IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Fire! Exclamation point. Fire! Great.
I'll
It's
just
so
put
quotable.
this
It's awesome. Anyway.
just put this over here with the rest of the fire. I legitimately I use did you see that ludicrous display last night? At least somewhat frequently still. It's it's I don't know what that's not what I was expecting you to say, because every time I think of the internet too, I also think of the little box, and I just didn't say it because, and so I love so much that you said that, because immediately I'm just like, yep, no explanation needed. I am so right there with you. Um,
Oh my god.
oh man, such a good
Where was I? We talked about marketing. Anyway, that I don't know.
IT Crowd is more important, but
Yes,
um,
yes. She is awesome. Okay. Uh, thanks for bringing this up, Mark. She is awesome. I love her marketing. She's also self-published, but her book goblin thing, like I didn't know that she was an author. I found her on Instagram because of her book goblin stuff and her sketches. If you have never seen that, uh look up
absolutely, yeah.
her on Instagram. She does like sketches where she is a book goblin and then she as herself talks with herself like disguised as the book goblin, and it's hilarious. That's actually how I found her. I found out a lot later that she is a published author, and I have all her books. I have one of her sweaters with the book goblin on. Like
Oh,
this woman got a
hmm.
lot of money from me. That she's awesome. She really figured it out
I
how to do that.
All right, I'm gonna have to look this up, because yeah, I don't think I know this author, but
She
that
writes
sounds really
romantasy,
fun.
so you probably don't want to read it, but
Oh,
check out her book goblin sketches. It's hilarious. Yeah, see, I for the longest time me neither.
oh, and Darius a fan too. If this was an animal, we'd put it down. Uh,
Oh man.
Okay, apparently I need to at least watch the videos,
Yes,
even
you
if
have
I
to
don't
watch
read
it.
the
Now
stuff.
I know
So
what she's talking about.
I was like,
It's so
this
that book
sounds like
goblet
so
is
much fun.
awesome.
Okay.
Oh, cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Everybody didn't know that she was an author for the beginning. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So she does something right in marketing, if that's the case. She definitely
Yeah.
figured that out. Yeah.
If you can make yourself go viral and then, promote your stuff too at the same time, hey,
Yeah.
that's a good way
I
to
still
do
haven't
it.
figured
So
that part out, but
yeah, me neither.
it's fine.
The closest thing I've had to a viral video for me anyway is me complaining about the Stormlight Archive, and I wish people would stop watching that video to be honest. But
I mean, there's like an unpublished function, you could if you would want to.
yeah, I have so I haven't checked in a bit, but at not that long ago, literally almost 10% of my subscribers were from that video. Um, Also, like, probably 90% of all ad revenue I've ever made is from that video too. So I'm like, I debated just because I stopped responding to comments forever ago, but I still get them somewhat frequently
Yeah.
on it, and I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever. But I debated because it's just kind of opened a whole can of worms. But
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah. She is. She is. I see myself nodding so often when I watch her videos, like, "Yep, yep, I know what you're talking about." Mhm.
Yeah. I did. I pulled up. I typed in the name at least, and I see a thumbnail, and the thumbnail looks really funny already. So I'm I'm definitely curious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's going to be your evening.
It's
Plus
yeah.
IT crowd.
I love the IT crowd so much.
It's so good.
Such a good show. That's one too. It's we've watched it several times because it was a show randomly that a friend of mine watched, thought it was really funny, and then he told me I had to watch it, and we ended up watching it together. And then later, I made my wife watch it. She also loved it, and so it's just like I've not really found anybody who doesn't like the show. I'm sure those people exist, but it's just so
You don't want them in
funny.
your life.
Um,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, it's like at that point, if you don't like the IT crowd, um,
Out. There's the
yeah,
door.
I exactly, I'll put up with a lot, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'll have to pull some up and we can watch them. It sounds like it'll be up her alley. So
The
yeah,
book is good too. So I've read the first book of hers. I have to get back to the series at one point. It's something. So Lila might
oh
enjoy
gosh,
that too. Is it Layla or Lila? I'm sorry.
Layla, you're
Layla.
no
Okay.
no
Yeah, she
worries.
might enjoy that too. A little bit into the fantasy direction, but with
I,
romance.
as I just say, it's she does do some fantasy stuff. There's some. Oh, I can't remember what it is, but I keep getting ads for it constantly because she's mentioned it to me before. And, Google knows I like books. So it's like, you
Yeah.
must want this book. And I'm like, I promise you, I don't. Uh, but it's some romantasy type of book of some sort that I keep getting ads for. And I'm like, do you want me to just buy you this book so it'll stop telling me about it?
No,
And she's
then
like,
you
"Oh,
get
no, I'm
don't do
gonna
it.
try it on Kindle Unlimited first." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fine." So, but
Oh, man.
I also don't know who that is.
Me neither, but I
Katie
will look that
Carlisle.
up. Hang on.
So,
I'll type it in just so I have it already.
I have found so many authors, booktubers, content, all kinds of stuff from live streams because people show up and mention them. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know when I'll get to any of these things, but I'm always happy to add to my
Yeah.
TBR.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see parts of this. This is about half, like these shelves here, and most of that is unread. And then I have more over there, and then there's another room where there's more. My goodness. Yep.
I've I have most of my books are in here, and I have really tried the last like year and a half to be better. I've been slipping lately like crazy because I've ended up getting some more. But like most of the ones that you can see, I've read. I try to like the Prime Placement Ghost, a series that I've read and liked. There are
Yeah, I
books
need
down
to
below. I mean,
redo
I
my
started
office.
pulling out all my mass market paperbacks. People were bringing up like, I have that, haven't read it, yeah, and then I have more books off screen, and I have a whole
Yeah.
other shelf downstairs, and I'm just like, yeah. So
We just need the
it's
dress from Belle now, and the letter on the shelves, and then we can be Beauty and the Beast,
Someday.
reimagining something like that.
Yeah, so I need that for my secret library. I'm still mad Andrew got the shelf that I want. I don't have room for it, but his newer shelves are the ones from IKEA, like this really big one.
The Billy shelves or the what are they
They're like
called?
the really big one though, yeah.
Ah, okay. 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 Okay.
But it's I don't have any more. Like there's no more room for bookshelves in
No.
here. So
So
I
okay,
yeah.
he behind the scenes look. Other than that, my lunch is sitting there. You see it partially like here, the stack here. That is like 4 more rows into that direction, and then you see that back here a
Oh
little
no.
bit. There's a hole that's all behind the chair, all stacks of books.
Oh gosh.
Let's hide
That's
this real quick.
that's relatable. That's relatable. So very good for you.
Yeah.
I always look the things up. She's apparently it's a murder mystery author, which is funny because just today I was at the library because I try to go to the library, so I'll stop buying books. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should look at the mystery section. But then I had to leave and I didn't pick anything out. So
Yeah, that's the problem, right? If you're already so in I mean, every genre, if you're already so invested in a genre, being like, "Ooh, there's this other genre. Let me see." Oh, big mistake.
yeah, that's where like I'd like to switch it up a bit, but I also primarily just stick to my own fantasy stuff because there's so
Yeah.
many fantasy books I need to read. So
Yeah. I love thrillers too much, though. I like that's my
mm.
problem. I like too many genres. Anyway, did I just see wait, Stacy said 200 books on her
Oh,
unread? Amateur. Like, come on.
more in Canada still apparently. So yeah, no, I did mine, which I do have enough physical books that I count as a library. Apparently, the number is only like it's like 600 or something, which I beat.
I'm
But
scared.
I don't recommend counting. It'll make you feel terrible about
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm not.
But I did the whole unread read thing, and yeah, I had hundreds of books that I hadn't read, so it
Well,
was
I also
nuts.
started what I started doing is books that I've read and I know I will never reread again or I plain didn't like, I sell them immediately or donate them or, depending on the book. So the majority of the
Yeah.
books that I have at home are unread because of that. So obviously I have my one shelf back there which has my reads and my favorites and I eventually that will be also my background for my videos once I figure out how to reset this office eventually. But like the majority on the shelves is unread and that, sometimes shuffles through, but yeah, if I read a book, either it goes then back there to it's a favorite or it disappears out of my house because I don't have the
Yeah.
space. Like I need to
That's where I've been
enlarge the
getting
house or something, but build a
yeah,
new house next to the house just for the books. Like it's
just
not
the
happening.
secret book house. I love it.
Yeah, not a she shed that is a library or something.
I'm down. I'm down.
For a she shed, you're down for a she shed, Nico?
If
You
it's
maybe.
also a library, you betcha. You call it what you want. All that matters is there's some secret entrance to it. One day I'm gonna have a secret like bookcase door. I can hear my wife outside judging me right now outside the office. She knows my dreams about a secret bookshelf like door into a secret library.
Oh man. Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah, I think all of our TBRs are out of hand. Um, so I have my wife got me a scanner and it's really good and it's great for cataloging. I just am really bad about actually scanning my stuff in and keeping my list updated and scanning stuff out when I get rid of stuff. So I have to end up redoing it every couple of years.
Do you just wanna come out here and do that for me too? I just I'd love to do that, but I'm just scared of scanning. I have 1,000 books in this house or something. I just don't know. Just thinking about it gives me a headache. Um, Green Rider. Okay, Green Rider question. No, it's not. We know about a book 9. So, book 8 is coming out in September 30th, and, uh, she wrote book 8, and then I believe it was the publisher who said, "This is a bit too long. We need to split this into 2 books." So book 8 is the first half of book 8, and then book 9 will come out hopefully not too long. But she doesn't say anything ever anymore about how many books she's going to write. But knowing what happened in book 7, and since I read book 8 already, in book 8, there's so much shit that happened. I don't know if book 9 will be the last one. I hope book 10 is going to be the last one. I mean, this series just needs to end now. Like we're good now. I just need to know, there are certain things that I just need to know. Like, just give me the thing.
Understandable.
So unfortunately
Understandable.
not. Unfortunately not. But you're welcome to join the club of Green Rider lovers and waiting for the next book. We meet every Thursday in an anonymous group.
Oh man, audio does help to not have to buy books too, for sure. Unless you really like it, and then you go out and buy the physical copy anyway. Uh, so spicy thrillers, is that something that you've come across?
No, that is a new subgenre for me. I don't know if I need that though. Like blood and murder and body parts flying around and then spice, right? Nah, that's kind of awkward.
Acquired taste.
Yes. I can see that
Uh,
it turned you off. I think I would be turned off by that too.
oh my goodness. So, um, Derry reads romance and smut, sci-fi, mystery thrillers. Uh, Only 3.8% of the library. Okay,
Yeah. So majority for
that
me is
could be a lot
definitely
of books.
depending on, yes. Derry doesn't have a small library either.
I would bet not. I would bet not. Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, we've been going for an hour 40. It
Jeez.
looks like I just all of a sudden I'm like, oh gosh, it is getting late. So I feel like we should probably begin wrapping up. Um, I'm just gonna say I'm usually in bed not too far after now too, because you never know how the baby's gonna sleep. But
Yeah.
uh, oh, we have maybe this will be a good ending question. With how many books you own, how many of them do you actually think you will read? The TBR will never end. Uh, that's a good question because if you keep buying more, it's hard to keep up.
Did you have to end it on that question mark?
That's
You make
I
me
was just
sad now.
it's not the best end question after all, but
I'm sad.
mm,
I mean, the hope is that I'm going to read all of them, right? The reason that I bought them is because I want to read them eventually. But at this point, if I'm realistic at this point in my life, I have a feeling some of the books that are currently on the shelves will not be read in my lifetime. But
I
one can
try to
hope.
yeah, I try to slowly get rid of books like that if I've had them for years and just don't seem to get to them. But I mean,
Yeah.
I could stop buying or acquiring any books, not do anything new, and only just read what I already own, and be good for years, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But then we have to stop being on BookTube too,
yeah,
because that's the
that
big
would
problem. Then you have someone like Andrew throwing something out. You're like, oh, that sounds really good. Let me look this up and ignore the 300 books that are sitting over there that I was planning on
yes.
reading this month?
Hmm. Yeah, but especially since I'm so interested in a lot of like backlist ones too, which 2026 backlist fantasy and
Year of the
sci-fi and
backlist.
other stuff.
There we
Yes,
go.
um,
2026 is the year of the backlist.
that sounds. I'm always down. I'd sort of just like such an easy sell, such an easy sell. Uh, but yeah, no, I feel like there's too many things, but we'll get there. Well, maybe they'll invent something that lets you read like super fast.
I don't know if I want that though, you
It's
know?
true.
I love that's the thing. That's why I also struggle probably with audiobooks. I mean, everybody, like you have different learner types and whatnot, you have different reader types. I need the physical book or ebook, whatever, but like I read with my eyes, not with my ears. More I enjoy more reading with my eyes versus my ears. I love just the sitting down and the reading and then, how the world explodes in front of you and that alone. I know there are some sci-fi situations where, there's the idea of you just hold a book in front of something and then you immediately know what the book is about. I don't know if I would enjoy that.
Yeah, no, that is a good point because I think so much of it is the experience, and I do. I do a lot of physical ebook and audio. Audio is the only way that I like keep up with the volume that I get through. But it's just like I could never be an audio only reader.
Yeah. I
And
can do
it works
simple
for some
books.
people, but
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I've gotten better at it because it's another thing. You have to kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Because initially I'm like, this is never going to work for me. But now I do it a lot, and I've had really great experiences with some audio. But I see, yeah, there absolutely is something about just sitting down and reading a physical book. that is just I'm never gonna want to get away from totally. So yeah. Well, on that bombshell,
Oh
that's a
my
whole
goodness.
different British TV show reference. But on that bombshell, it's time to end. Uh, I don't know if you ever watched Top Gear. Completely
No,
different show.
no. I still like it though. It sounds funny, but no, I've not watched it.
That's yeah, the soldier thing. But yeah, so I think we probably should wrap up here before we go all night, which would be way too easy to do, I'm sure. But thanks so much again for joining. This was so much fun, and we had such a wide variety of topics too. It's
No
this,
kidding.
as this again, where like I've enjoyed doing these where it's just we're gonna go wherever the conversation takes us. So it's been fun and very easy to talk to as I expected, but this is a good time. So thanks so much for joining, and
Thanks so
thank you
much
guys in the
for
audience as well.
thanks.
All right, bye.